You wake up. Morning light coming through the curtains, your alarm just went off. You reach over and turn it off. You sit up in bed, stretch, check your phone, 7:15 a.m. Normal Tuesday. You get up, walk to the bathroom, brush your teeth, look at yourself in the mirror. Everything is fine, everything is normal. You go downstairs, make coffee. The kitchen looks exactly like it always does. And then, something is wrong. You can't explain it at first, it's just a feeling. A nagging sense that something doesn't add up. You look at your hands. And you count your fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 fingers. You blink, look again, 5 fingers, normal, of course. But for a second, for just 1 second, you saw 7. And that's when the realization hits you. You're not awake. You're dreaming. But here's the part that makes this truly terrifying. You can't wake up. This isn't science fiction. This isn't a horror movie plot. This is a real neurological phenomenon. It has a name. It's been documented. And it has happened to real people. Today we're going to explore what happens when your brain gets stuck between dreaming and waking. When the boundary between sleep and reality breaks down. And why for some people escaping a dream becomes the hardest thing they've ever had to do. Before we talk about getting stuck in dreams, we need to understand what dreams actually are. Because most people have no idea what's really happening in their brain while they sleep. Every single night while you're unconscious, your brain creates entire worlds. Complete with landscapes you've never visited, people you've never met, events that defy the laws of physics, and emotions as real as anything you feel while awake. And here's what's wild. You don't know you're dreaming while it's happening. During normal dreams, a specific part of your brain, the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, shuts down. This is the region responsible for self-awareness, critical thinking, reality testing, and logical reasoning. When it's offline, you can't question what's happening. You can't think, wait, this doesn't make sense. So you just accept whatever the dream presents. A purple elephant walks through your living room. Normal. Fine, moving on. You fly through the sky without wings, of course, that's just Tuesday. Now Now here's where things get interesting. There's a state of dreaming where that prefrontal cortex doesn't fully shut down. Where you become aware, while still inside the dream, that you are dreaming. This is called lucid dreaming. And it changes everything. In a lucid dream, you know you're dreaming. You can recognize the dreamscape for what it is. You can sometimes even control it. Fly, change the scenery, create anything you want. It sounds incredible, and for many people it is. But lucid dreaming also opens a door. A door that once opened is very, very difficult to close. Because when you become aware that you're dreaming, you also become aware of the boundary between dream and reality. And sometimes, that boundary starts to break. Let me tell you about something called a false awakening. A false awakening is when you dream that you've woken up. Everything feels real. You open your eyes. You see your bedroom. You feel your body. You believe completely that you are awake. But you're not. You're still dreaming. Now, false awakenings happen to most people at some point. They're relatively common. Usually they last a few seconds or minutes. You realize something is off, and the light is wrong or the room looks slightly different, and then you actually wake up for real. But there's a specific type of false awakening that is different. It's called a type 2 false awakening. And in type 2, the dream doesn't just simulate waking up. It simulates a frightening version of waking up. You wake up and something is wrong. The atmosphere in the room feels threatening. There are strange shadows, a presence you can't see. You try to move, you can't, you're paralyzed. Sound familiar? Type 2 false awakenings are closely linked to sleep paralysis. The boundary between REM sleep and waking consciousness becomes so blurred that your brain can't tell which state you're in. And it generates a horrifying version of reality to match the confusion. But here's where it gets even more disturbing. Some people report experiencing nested false awakenings. A false awakening inside a false awakening. You dream you wake up, but you're actually still dreaming. So you dream you wake up again, still dreaming. Again, still dreaming. Again. This is called a false awakening loop. And for the people who experience it, it is one of the most psychologically destabilizing things that can happen inside a dream. Imagine waking up, going about your morning, and then realizing you're dreaming. So you try to wake up, and you wake up again. but you're still dreaming. How many times do you have to wake up before it's real? How do you know when it's actually real? Some people report being stuck in these loops for what feels like hours. Hours of waking up, realizing they're dreaming, trying to wake up again, and failing. Over and over and over. The psychological impact of this is significant. Because once you've experienced a false awakening loop, you start to question your own reality. Every time you wake up in the morning, there's a part of your brain that whispers, "Is this real or is this another dream?" And that question, once it enters your mind, is very hard to silence. So what's actually happening in your brain when you get stuck in a dream? Why can't you just wake up? Let's talk about the mechanics of consciousness and the sleep-wake boundary. Your brain operates in different states of consciousness, each with specific neural activity patterns. Wakefulness, full brain activity, prefrontal cortex online, reality testing active. NREM sleep, reduced activity, slow brain waves, no dreaming, mostly. REM sleep, highly active brain, vivid dreaming, motor paralysis, REM atonia. The transition between these states is normally seamless. You fall asleep, cycle through stages, wake up. Simple. But sometimes, the transitions don't work properly. This is called sleep state instability. In sleep state instability, the boundaries between sleep and waking become fragmented. Your brain flickers between states instead of transitioning cleanly. One moment you're in REM, the next you're partially conscious, then back to REM, then partially conscious again. And during these flickering transitions, your brain can create experiences that feel like waking up, but aren't. Here's what happens neurologically during a false awakening. Step 1. REM sleep active. Your brain is generating a dream. The dorsolateral prefrontal cortex is partially active. Enough to create awareness, but not enough for full reality testing. Step 2. Consciousness flicker. A brief surge of activity in the prefrontal cortex makes you feel like you're waking up. Your brain interprets this surge as, "I am now awake." Step 3. Dream continues, but the REM state doesn't actually end. Your brain is still dreaming. It just incorporated the feeling of waking up into the dream itself. Step 4. Reality testing fails. Because your prefrontal cortex isn't fully online, you can't properly test whether you're actually awake. The dream feels real enough to pass. This is why false awakenings are so convincing. Your brain isn't lying to you on purpose. It genuinely doesn't have enough processing power active to distinguish dream from reality. Now, lucid dreaming adds another layer of complexity to this. When you lucid dream, you train your brain to recognize dream states. You develop what's called dream awareness. The ability to notice inconsistencies and realize you're dreaming. But here's the cruel irony. Dream awareness can also be generated inside a false awakening. So you wake up in a false awakening. You notice something wrong. Your dream awareness kicks in and says, "This is a dream." So you try to wake up, but you're still in the dream. So you try again. And again. Your dream awareness is working perfectly. You know you're dreaming. But the dream won't let you leave. Some researchers believe this happens because lucid dreaming creates a paradox in your brain's sleep regulation system. By becoming aware of the dream while still in REM sleep, you create a feedback loop. You're in REM, dreaming. You become aware, trying to wake up. Trying to wake up triggers another REM cycle, still dreaming. You become aware again, trying to wake up again. And the cycle continues. Your brain is essentially stuck between two states. Too aware to dream normally. Too deep in REM to actually wake up. Trapped in between. Now I want to talk about what this actually feels like. Because the clinical description doesn't capture the psychological horror of being genuinely stuck in a dream. People who have experienced prolonged false awakening loops describe it as profoundly destabilizing. Some describe waking up, going through their morning routine, and then finding the world subtly wrong. Details that don't add up. Clocks that show impossible times. Text that changes every time they look at it. People who look slightly different. They realize they're dreaming. They try to wake up. They close their eyes, focus, try to force consciousness. And they wake up again. But it's not real. They can tell because something is still wrong. Some describe the experience as increasingly surreal with each loop. The first false awakening might feel almost completely normal, just slightly off. But the second one, the details start breaking down more. By the third or fourth loop, the dreamscape becomes obviously distorted. Reality is fracturing. Others describe a different kind of trap. A dream so vivid, so stable, so convincing, that they genuinely cannot tell it from reality. Not because of false awakenings, but because the dream itself is so perfectly constructed that dream awareness fails. You look at your hands, 5 fingers, normal. You read text, it stays consistent, normal. You check the time, it makes sense, normal. Everything passes the reality test. And you have absolutely no way of knowing you're dreaming. There are also reports of what some call dream prisons. These are dream states where the dreamer becomes aware they're dreaming, but the dream actively resists their attempts to wake up or change it. They try to fly, they can't. They try to change the scenery, nothing happens. They try to wake up, they're stuck. The dream feels like a cage, a conscious, almost sentient cage that won't let them leave. Now I want to be clear. These experiences are generated entirely by the dreamer's own brain. There is no external force trapping you, no supernatural entity controlling your dreams. What's happening is that specific neural pathways responsible for waking up, particularly those involving the reticular activating system in your brainstem, are failing to fire properly. Your brain's wake-up signal isn't getting through. And in the meantime, your dreaming brain is generating increasingly elaborate experiences to fill the void. Some people who experience frequent false awakenings and lucid dream loops report lasting psychological effects. Difficulty distinguishing dream from reality upon waking. Increased anxiety about sleep. Questioning the reality of their waking life and dissociation. Fear of falling asleep. existential dread about the nature of consciousness. This is why for some people, getting stuck in a dream isn't just a weird sleep experience. It becomes a psychological crisis. So you're stuck in a dream. You know you're dreaming, but you can't wake up. What do you actually do? First, and this is the most important thing, and stay calm. Panic inside a dream amplifies everything: the fear, the instability, the sensation of being trapped. Panic makes the dream more chaotic and makes it harder for your brain to transition to wakefulness. Here are evidence-based techniques for breaking out. Technique 1, the pinch test. Pinch yourself hard. In a real body, this produces sharp pain and a clear sensation. In a dream, the sensation is often muffled or delayed. If you feel sharp, immediate pain, you might actually be awake. If the pain feels wrong, delayed, or absent, where you're still dreaming. Use this information to orient yourself. Technique 2, the text test. Read something, look away, read it again. In dreams, text almost always changes between readings. Letters shift, words rearrange, sentences become nonsensical. In reality, text stays consistent. This is one of the most reliable reality tests available. Technique 3, the hands test. Look at your hands carefully. Count your fingers. In dreams, hands often appear distorted. Extra fingers, missing fingers, blurry edges. If your hands look wrong, you're dreaming. Technique 4, trying to wake up the right way. Don't just try to wake up passively, instead close your eyes completely. Feel your body. Imagine your physical body in your bed. Focus on the sensation of your back against the mattress. Try to feel the weight of your blankets. Breathe deliberately and slowly. You're essentially trying to shift your awareness back to your physical body. Technique 5, the spin. Some lucid dreamers report that spinning their dream body, spinning in place, can destabilize the dream enough to trigger waking. The vestibular signals from spinning may conflict with REM sleep patterns and help your brain transition out. Technique 6, accept and wait. Sometimes the hardest but most effective approach is simply accepting that you're dreaming and waiting. Dreams have natural durations. REM sleep cycles typically last 10 to 20 minutes. If you can remain calm and stop fighting, the dream will eventually end on its own when the REM cycle completes. Prevention strategies. If you experience frequent false awakenings or lucid dream loops, these approaches can reduce their frequency. Number 1, reality testing throughout the day. Practice checking reality regularly while awake. Read text, count fingers, check clocks. This habit carries into your dreams and makes you more likely to catch false awakenings quickly. Number 2, sleep hygiene. Maintain consistent sleep schedules. Avoid sleep deprivation. Both contribute to sleep state instability. Number 3, reduce lucid dreaming practice temporarily. If lucid dreaming is causing frequent loops, take a break from lucid dreaming techniques. The more you train dream awareness, the more likely you are to experience false awakenings. Number 4, address underlying anxiety. Anxiety about sleep and dreams can create a self-fulfilling cycle. If fear of getting stuck is causing you stress about sleeping, address the anxiety directly, through therapy, mindfulness, or both. Number 5, keep a dream journal. Recording dreams helps you process them and maintain a healthy relationship with your dream life. It also helps you identify patterns in your false awakenings. When to seek professional help. If you experience frequent inability to distinguish dreams from reality upon waking, persistent dissociation or derealization, severe anxiety about sleep, repeated prolonged false awakening loops, feeling trapped in dreams regularly, talk to a sleep specialist or psychologist. These experiences can sometimes indicate underlying sleep disorders or anxiety that's treatable. Here's what I want you to take away from this video. Dreams are not random noise. They are your brain creating entire universes, complete, vivid, emotionally real universes every single night. And sometimes the boundary between those universes and this one gets blurry. False awakenings are real. Lucid dream loops are real. The experience of being stuck in a dream is documented and understood. But it's not supernatural. It's not a haunting. It's not your mind breaking. It's your brain, an incredibly complex, incredibly powerful organ, making a mistake in its state transitions. A glitch in the system. And like all glitches, it can be understood, it can be managed, and it almost always resolves on its own. The next time you wake up in the morning, and for just a second you wonder, is this real? Check your hands, read some text, look around. If everything is consistent, if the world makes sense, you're awake. Probably. How do you know you're awake right now? Check your hands. Count your fingers. Did you get 5?